Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This is where we dig into fascinating sources, looking for those insights, maybe surprising facts, the moments that make you pause and go, aha.
Right. And today feels a bit different, doesn't it? We're really zeroing in.
We're diving into just one single but really rich document today. It's an excerpt from something called notebooklmtesting.pdf.
A very specific poll.
Exactly. And our mission, if you will, is to unpack a story from it that has, well, it's really echoed down through the centuries.
Sounds intriguing.
So you need to kind of step back with me. Way back, think 12th century.
Okay. Ancient India.
Yeah, imagine a quiet village somewhere there. You can almost smell the earth, maybe the smoke from pottery kilns.
Setting the scene.
Right. And we're not looking for, kings or generals here. Our focus is on a humble artisan, someone whose life was, like, tied to the very soil they worked.
Grounded.
Very. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit more. The story centers on this remarkable individual named Raka Kumbhar.
Raka, Kumbhar. And Kumbhar, that name itself is significant, isn't it?
For anyone wondering, Kumbhar in Marathi literally means potter. So it wasn't just his job title.
It was his identity.
Exactly. His name, his essence, really. But Raka, he wasn't just any potter. Our source tells us he was an ardent devotee of Panduranga.
A deity he deeply revered.
Deeply. So picture this guy, Raka. Day in, day out, hands literally deep in the clay, shaping it, molding pots.
Hard work, skilled work.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But for him, it wasn't just labor. It was a form of worship. As his hands worked the clay, he'd constantly chant, Vitala, Vitala.
The name of his lord.
Yes. And here's where it gets really interesting, where things kind of transcend the ordinary. The legend, according to our source, it says the pottery Raka made after firing. It wouldn't just make a normal sound when you tapped it, like tin tin. No, it would actually resonate with his chant.
Wow, so Vitala Vitala from the pot itself.
That's what the source claims. Can you even imagine the actual objects he created sort of echoed his devotion?
That's compelling. It's more than just a charming detail, isn't it? It really gives you a window into a different way of seeing the world.
How so?
Well, it suggests this profound integration, right? His spiritual life wasn't separate from his craft. His work was his devotion.
Ah, I see. Not just multitasking.
Not at all. It's about infusing every action, every single object with sacred intent. It makes you think, doesn't it, about the connection between like an artist's soul and what they create.
Yeah. How much of the creator can really end up in the creation? That's a deep thought.
It is.
So, okay, this really sets the stage. We have this man, Raka, whose spiritual depth seems undeniable, woven into his daily life.
A harmonious picture.
But even in a life that seems so, integrated, disaster can strike. Imagine Raka. Days of careful, patient work.
All that effort.
Exactly. And he places all his newly molded clay pots into the fiery oven, the kiln. This is the crucial part, right? It takes 2-3 days to fire properly.
The point of no return, almost.
Right. But just then, just as the kiln's starting to really heat up, this desperate cry pierces the air.
Yeah.
A mother cat.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Distraught, frantic. Her agony just fills the space around him.
And this is where it shifts dramatically. A completely mundane act, firing pottery, suddenly becomes this huge ethical crisis.
He must have known instantly.
You'd think so. With his empathy, the source implies that cry could only mean one thing. Her kittens are missing.
And the only possible place.
Tragically, horrifyingly. Yeah. Inside the very clay molds he just sealed into that scorching oven.
Unbelievable.
So it stops being just a story about a potter, doesn't it? It becomes about this collision between everyday life, his deep faith, and the sudden impossible choice.
Absolutely impossible. What could he even do?
Well, that's the crux of it. If we think about the deeper meaning here, this isn't just how do I get the kittens out? It's a fundamental test of his core values.
Because he can't reach in. Right. The heat would be...
Well, instant, severe, impossible. And his pots, remember, the product of his work, his devotion, his livelihood. They're in there too, fragile at this stage.
So he loses the pots,
or the kittens perish. It forces this profound question on him. Does his, let's say, abstract devotion to Panduranga, expressed through making pots, does that outweigh the immediate tangible duty to save living beings?
Wow. That puts it starkly.
It does. And this story really raises that question for all of us, I think. What happens when our deepest spiritual practices, our commitments, clash head-on with an urgent, desperate need for active compassion? For action now.
It's agonizing just thinking about it. His hands, usually so skilled at shaping clay, are completely useless against that heat.
Right, the very fire meant to perfect his craft now blocks him from saving lives.
And the chanting, the Vitala Vitala that usually filled his workshop, now it's replaced by the cat's cries and, the terrible silence from inside the kiln.
That contrast is powerful.
It is. And it's in that moment, that crucible of guilt and utter helplessness, that Raka turns to his lord, to Panduranga.
He prays.
He prays. But it's more than just asking for help. He makes this huge, life-changing vow.
Okay, what does he promise?
He asks Panduranga to save all the kittens, every single one. And in return, this is the staggering part, he promises to renounce his materialistic life.
Renounce everything.
Pretty much.
Where?
He vows to go live a simple life in the forest, give up his home, his possessions, his craft, everything that defines his current way of living.
That's monumental, especially for a humble potter. That's not like a king giving up a spare palace. That's his entire world.
Exactly. It's a complete upheaval.
Yeah.
An ultimate bargain, you could say, born from desperation, sure, but it's rooted in this incredibly deep spiritual conviction.
He's offering his whole future, his comfort, his security, even his identity as Kumbhar, the potter, all for these tiny animals.
The weight of that vow feels immense.
It really does. And that's a crucial point, isn't it? It's not just a desperate plea like, oh, please help. It's a sacred covenant he's making.
A deal with his God.
In a way, yes. And his willingness to make that deal shows, I think, a kind of spiritual maturity. It prioritizes active compassion right now, even over his livelihood, his future.
Even over the pots that echo Vitala Vitala.
Precisely, which is fascinating. For someone already living simply, what does renouncing a materialistic life even mean? Going to the forest suggests shedding even the most basic attachments.
Just existence, maybe? Shelter?
Yeah.
Tools?
Yeah. It points to this deep belief in the sanctity of all life, especially the helpless. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How often do we consider such radical shifts in our own lives? Not for personal gain, but for, a higher principle, for someone else's sake.
Rarely, I'd imagine. Not on that scale.
It prompts you to think about what our materialistic life even consists of, and what we might actually be willing to let go of when faced with a really stark moral choice.
Mm-hmm. And then he has to wait. That part strikes me too. The oven burns for 2 or 3 days. Yeah. So he makes this agonizing prayer, this incredible vow, and then nothing, just waiting. Imagine the tension, the torment, really, hoping, despairing, knowing what's happening or not happening inside that inferno.
Each hour must have felt endless, a true test of his resolve after he made the promise. Would he start to doubt or bargain again?
Or just endure?
Absolutely. Those 3 days must have been Raka's own personal crucible, a time of just profound uncertainty, spiritual tension. It's a powerful picture of being human, isn't it? Facing something totally outside your control, especially after you've committed everything.
All he could do was wait. And trust, I suppose. Trust in the vow, his devotion, his Lord.
Yeah, and that narrative structure, the crisis, the agonizing wait, then the resolution, it really amplifies the impact of what happens next. It builds suspense, highlights his faith. You see the structure a lot in stories aiming for deep moral or spiritual lessons. The trial forges the character.
And the outcome here. Wow. After those 3 grueling days filled, you imagine, with prayer, maybe silence, just waiting. When Raka finally opens the kiln, pulls out the pots.
What does he find?
It defies all logic.
Yeah.
No charred remains, not even just empty tots. To his absolute astonishment, he finds all the kittens safe.
All of them alive.
Alive and well. The source is very specific.
Yeah.
All the kittens safe and running towards the mother cat.
Oh, that image.
Isn't it? Just pure relief, joy. A total miracle, basically.
Yeah.
It validates everything, his prayer, his sacrifice, that impossible choice he made.
In answer to his vow.
A direct answer.
Yeah.
But then comes the other crucial part. Raka Kumbhar, true to his word, fulfilled his vow.
He actually did it. He didn't just, say, phew, crisis averted, thanks, and go back to normal.
Nope. This story isn't just about the miracle rescue. It's about integrity. Unshakable integrity. A promise made even in the depths of desperation meant everything to him.
So he didn't forget it once the danger passed.
Not at all. The source says he renounced the materialistic life and started leading a simplistic life in the forest. No hesitation, no loopholes. His commitment was absolute.
That's perhaps even more profound than the miracle itself.
I think so too. It speaks volumes about his character, his resolve, the authenticity of his faith, following through like that. Wow.
Indeed. This story, though centuries old, it's not just about divine intervention. It's this really powerful narrative about, well, the depth of conviction, right? The sheer weight of a promise,
Hmm.
and ultimately what we truly value.
His willingness to give it all up, his life, his craft, everything, for those kittens, for that principle. It's quite something.
It shows his devotion wasn't just chanting Vitala Vitala. It was embodied action. It was steadfast integrity. This was not a man of empty words.
Legally not.
And we'll sit back for a second. I think this tale offers maybe two big takeaways for us listening now.
Yeah.
First, it really challenges how we think about promises. Raka made his vow under extreme duress, right? You could argue he was desperate.
Sure. Anyone might promise anything in that situation.
Exactly. But he kept it with unwavering conviction. Even when the immediate crisis was over, when arguably no one was forcing him, no one was watching, it makes you ask, how often do we make commitments, big or small? And what are we really willing to give up to keep them, especially when the pressure's off?
That's a tough question. It highlights the difference between just saying something in a panic and a genuine, deeply held belief.
Precisely. That's the first insight. And the second, it lies in how starkly this contrasts with, well, our modern world.
How so?
We live in a society that's constantly pushing us to acquire more, right? Build more, get more, accumulate more stuff, more status.
Yeah, that's the dominant narrative for sure.
But Raka Kumbhar's story offers this completely different path. His renunciation, giving things up, it wasn't portrayed as a loss. In a deep spiritual sense, it was framed as a gain.
Again.
An affirmation of living by higher values. It shows that sometimes the greatest treasures aren't found in what we get, but maybe in what we're willing to let go of. For a greater good, for compassion, for integrity.
Letting go is a form of gaining something more essential.
That's the idea. So what does all this mean for you, listening? What parts of Raka's journey really hit home? Maybe in ways that make you look at your own commitments, your own priorities, a little differently.
It definitely makes you think.
What might you be willing to sacrifice, truly sacrifice, for a belief you hold dear, for a principle you want to embody, not just talk about? It's a question, I think, that lingers long after we finish talking about the potter and the kittens, a challenging one.